Oh, she made it. Excellent. Hey, thank you. I gotta pronounce her name right. Everybody gets it wrong. She's from Germany. She's gonna be reading from us. She's from.
Oh, leave it out.
Yes. Hold on.
Leave it out from
I
Austria.
got it. Yeah. No, she's in Milan. She's in Milan, Italy, right now. So for those of you, when it's your turn to read, just give your name and where you're reading from, nationally, internationally, or locally, the locals here. And then just briefly, if you want to give like, this is how you reach me, say 1 or 2 or 3 words about where you are and what you do. If you got a book or a URL, would be a quick way to do it. This is my website, this is my ID, however you want to do that. And just go right into your poem, and we'll see how many we could pull off in this time frame. I'm not going to be able to know who's on everybody because I'm not the tech, but when Ben shows up, we'll see what he does. I think I'm going to be with the screen as we are. Alexandra is now here from Greece. This is beautiful. And Alexandra, before we get there, I just want to say a special thank you. The very first one, she played a good role in helping me put it together. So I want to say thank you to her. She's going to be going first. Some of you are here from far away. Some of you have requested to be here early. Some of you are getting out of work later. Some of the poets that are coming here are getting out. And Sandy is here now from Cork, Ireland. She's actually from Connecticut, but she's going to be representing Ireland. And she's an amazing poet too. And so your bios and your promos and your introductions are going to be brief. And we'll figure that out because once Ben edits it and it goes up to Zoom later on, we'll be able to put all your data underneath the video, and then you'll all get the email to share that. So Ben's not going to be here. He's going to do it from the other room. I'm waiting for Ben to show up. So Ben is in the other room, and so we can start. So I think we're already recording, so I'm just going to sort of roll into it, and this is where it's going to begin. So here comes the beginning of this. The beginning of every high point in my life is the most wonderful ending that the coming of tomorrow can bring. The song and poetry of my breathing and my dream come true moments are over, and now I stand naked about my calling, achievements, the fool I am. It's the first poem in the first book I ever published. And so we are here to address free speech portals between the artists of this earth may become the last stand of human kindness. Generations of world peace and life sustainability activists have lost their turn at the microphone of benevolence. And the narrative of fear as belief is well on its way to hijacking the definition of reality and fact. Still the poets rise. Here, the poets give birth to transcending pain, traumas, wars, tragedies, and the endless disseminating fear of others as if inhumanity and islands of fear will heal us or steer us off the eater be eaten, killer be killed pathway of ruins, as if that is a way to survive both life and death. We're here to represent the art of life. Today is the 3rd International Zoom Live Hybrid Poetry event. This birthing portal of one love between all voices of this earth is in its infancy. You are about to experience poets throughout the spectrum of our literary world without superiority or inferiority rank. A new voice is as valuable as a world recognized one. And perhaps in the realms of courage and vulnerability, a greater challenge. Poetry saves lives. Poets without borders transcend divisions and dichotomies. And so this vision aims to unify the virtual, the spiritual, and the physical. Before we hear from today's poets, I'd like to thank some of the poets who have helped us reach the stage of growth from the first two of these events. Poet Aku from Japan, Ray Jane from New York City, Rick Lupert from California, Marcy Daiwa from Zimbabwe, Martina McGowan from Indianapolis, Raul I. M. James from Toronto, Canada, Marianne Teft from St. Martin, Caribbean, Kumar Prasanna from India, Jason Wright from Massachusetts, Gustav Salas from Florida, Lucilla Trapazzo from Switzerland and Italy, Unmesh Motikar, again, not his name right, from India, I don't pronounce the name of his region. Subongo was in the first one, from Zimbabwe, and here from Massachusetts, Dinah Kodatsky from Massachusetts, and possibly joining us later in the same time, Lantern Carrier from the UK, who's here today. And if we could fit anyone else in, let the tech guy know that you would like to be added to the list. No guarantee, but if we get to the end of at 4 o'clock, and there is time in the house and the tech allows us to stay a little longer, we'll include others that are here. And that's it for now. So I want to thank the library and the library board for over a year ago for accepting the idea of this, and then months later accepting it to become a hybrid and letting it become biannual, which makes this the third and the next one in the fall. There's talks of expanding this into a venue that will make this a living example of a portal of communication between this kind of a setup here. So thank you very, very much. And I'd like to bring up the Margaret Hath, who has been a pivotal role in making this happen. And she's wonderful to work with. So let's have her give the word. That's part of the little beauty. Did you guys hear the applause just now? Was that working?
Yeah.
We're good. Okay, Margaret, thank you.
Thank you, Cece. This has been a tremendous opportunity for the library, and we're very pleased to continue to sponsor this. It is amazing to me that this is pulled together by this tiny little library in this tiny little town in northwestern Connecticut. And yet here you all are for us to share information, to share your poetry. It's very moving to me, and I think it's a very important thing for a library to do, and I'm very grateful that you're giving us the opportunity to do that. So thank you. I believe that I'm to introduce the first poet, is that right?
Let's see, representing Nick.
Our first reader is Leslie Elias, who's a Cornwall person, a poet in her own right, and a person of great creative energy. She's reading a poem, however, by Nick Jacobs, who has read for us before. Nick can't be with us today, so Leslie is going to read his poem. Thank you.
Yes, and Nick dictated this to me in the hospital yesterday, but he's okay and sends his love to everyone. Thank you. Now wait till they're here. Quiet. Be ready. Sonatina by Nicholas Jacobs. So many words I've written you unsent. So many stories told to you untried. So long my heart filled full with you unspent. So many tears I've shed alone and dried. How many visions seen with you unseen. The sands of islands touched untouchable. All the hours we've been together unbid, delectable wit, undetectable. If I could only tell you this somehow, it would split the earth, ignite the skies. But this page is all that shows of this now. So I tell you all, straight into your eyes, a life of metaphors, words unbroken, will never equal what's left unspoken.
Leslie will be back with us. So when you come up to read, for those in the audience, this is the Zoom. So if you feel like you're too small in a picture, you can do that. So that's what being in the Zoom. I love that. Okay, so I'm gonna give just a quick idea of the next, that was a local, now we're gonna go national, and then we're gonna go international. And so the list hasn't really, it's kind of be on the fly, people have called, there's people showing up later, there's people that are gonna be coming and going. If let's see, if I just wanna know, is Maddie here? Is Maddie here? Oh, Nick is in the waiting room, oh my god, that's great. He may not wanna read, cause he's
Hi, Cece, I'm here.
Oh, great, okay, all right, Maddie, would you like to go first?
I'd love to. Yeah, thank you.
If you're ready, I'm ready.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Okay, yes, we can hear you, and I just wanna let you know, I want you to introduce yourself by the name you choose to use, cause you go by more than one name, so why don't you do that?
Maddie.
Let them know where you're from, Maddie, and thank you for
Okay.
being. This is one of the youngest and most amazing human beings exercising the art of being alive through the creative art of words, and she is a gift to us all, and we should all love her.
Thank you, Cece. This is beautiful what you've put together. It's incredible. Thank you for having me. My name's Maddie. I also go by stage name Baby. I don't have much online, but my Instagram is Matildads0. So Matilda DS0. I have a handful of short pieces for you guys. All of them are unnamed. It's raining right now in Maui. Up 2,000 feet elevation is a cloud to protect your skin. Kula is a green monster eating up the dead and calling it protection. Mom has made all the grilled vegetables to feed your childhood belly. Eat up. The grass does a dance with a dewdrop on its shoulder for you, for you. It's morning, for you. Yesterday made love in a way you can't feel out with your hands yet. Buckling knees means get down on the ground, take cover and pray. You ugly like a sunflower. Stop picking out the seeds and eat. Fill up. Ugly is an acquired taste after all. The water catches in your hair like green morning, weeping that you're still here with me. Dyed your hair just to look like the missing child poster on your milk carton. Swallow up men whole in disguise. Let the love die with the stove on. Forget to die the right way. Having killed no shame here, I'm gonna get in the sunny spot till it gets to some deep smack shame to exercise the light out. When it grows the size of a continent at sea, goes the girl underwater, goes the autism, drowning masks, and up comes a mermaid. A couple more for you. All right. Kids with good aim and a pair of blind boy readers, bifocals, a mirror in hand, a magnifying glass, frying up ants on the sidewalk. The predisposition for heat stroke is hereditary, tunnel vision, hereditary in the way mother would sneak an extra bottle of wine, a hand-me-down compulsion. She would say, stay on this side of the fence. We got two more for you. Endangered species exhibit at the Louvre. A sealed canvas print, two small hands. She has them pushed up on the enclosure wall, her palms flat at the veil. It's two-dimensional. I mean, she does not break the rules or the fourth wall. Either her frantic fingers scrape your eyes up chalkboard-wise, or bored and absent-minded, she begins to pick the silicone glue out where the two panes meet. The audience, the witnesses, the bystanders. Someone takes a photo of her dirty nails, says they can't stand modern art these days. All right. And I got one more for you. Dulled weapons must swing harder, in the foyer of the house, lined with law mounts. heads that bear striking resemblance to my sharp features, chin, tusks, brow, horns. All the men and women of my bloodline are stuffed up to the grimace. These days, our family photo hardly looks like more than a shadow. Love has been a phantom hunger pang, that same catch in your throat, that same way punishment twists into an obsession with pig hunting dogs when you're grown up. So, thank you.
Thank you, Maddie. And Maddie's coming from us from Chicago, Illinois. I don't know if that was in there. So remember to do that. And don't worry about the video and what you're seeing, because we have a dual recording happening. Remember that. So I'm going to list the next 3 poets, the national, the local, the national, and the international. And that's going to be Kathleen Hulser's coming up to read for us next from Cornwall. After that, we're going to ask Molly to be ready. Molly Pruitt from New Mexico. And then after that, Enguanisi Zakali Tumkunto will be reading for us. So those are the next 3. You're on deck. And here coming to the microphone and the podium in a moment. Give us a hand here. I think she's picking out her poem as we speak. Kathleen Hulser.
Okay. So this poem is dedicated to Harold Wood, the comic silent film hero, famously falling off a clock at Columbia Building in New York. Safety last. New York City scaffolding beckons, the infinite monkey bars of urban streetscapes. Swinging upside down by my knees, my t-shirt falls over my head, exposing my badass sports bra. All the anxiety meds are for the dog. On higher floors, few bother with curtains. I see a toddler wedge wet gummy bears in a door hinge. Next floor up, a naked guy scrolls through a phone in a pink case next to his sleeping girlfriend. She's texting someone else. A cat sharpens her claws on the Louis XV chair. At this height, I can see garish clouds over New Jersey, sparkling with particles from the oil refineries. Anticipation unfolds silently up here. And I have one other, and this one is dedicated to Noam Chomsky, and it's called Leaping Furiously. Language is a shape, a vessel that holds sense and nonsense, making meaning of reluctant juxtapositions. When green ideas are sleeping furiously, it's just more scofflaw poetry that infiltrates philosophy to cause trouble and kick interpretation down the road. My category mistakes are your Oxford hors d'oeuvres. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen Hulser from right here, Cornwall Bridge. And Alexandra, I didn't mean to go past you. So we're gonna, Zimpungo, you're gonna be in the next round, coming around, because I know you want to go early. And Alexandra Saropoulou, the PS is one sound, so you've got to work on that. And she's from Greece, and as I mentioned earlier, she played a major role in getting this whole thing going. And she asked me almost 2 months ago, can I go a little longer than 5 minutes? And I said yes. So for the rest of you, we're going to all do our best to make sure there's room there's already 4 people on the waiting list. And AJ's here now too. So I would give let's all give a hand for Alexandra.
Hi, can you see the graphics going by?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Flying 18. I don't want an indiscernible pathway. I want a trailblazing pathway. Traversing margaritic satellites, Hyperion heliospheres, phosphorescent vortexes, multidimensional multiverses. How will I summon all this Eusychian? retrogressing in the tempests of constellations and Erebus chasms of earthly martyrdom, heroically venturing up the highest battlements in the adamantine battle of our weak intellect, sensing the wafts of mysterious entities like fervent prophets in the solitary wild, grabbing onto the roots of our polygenistic syncretic advance into unexplored firmaments, with only our muse arousal, our humble inspiritment towards the spiraling, fire-bearing torch relay, the psyche momentum upwards, extending the borderlines, spreading our alchemist idealism, our vitalized thought forms onto boundless beaches and breezes, where monism synchronically diffuses, where dualism conjointly interfuses. Lunar bodies singing a paean to our initiations, leading into hegemonic clarity, moon echo after moon echo. I don't want fallacious ontologies. I want forthright ontologies, extending across entropic abysses, fanatical proselytisms, compatibilist free will, morphic fields. How will I catalyze all this noesis? Roaming in the unpurged lands of mass dogmatic crises, totalitarian fossilized idolization of spiritual plunder, replaced by collective transfiguration of the new race. Conflicting forces of complex personalities, overlapping with developing perceptions from infancy to liberation. Psychic hearts budding in akashic fields, fusing phenomenon with noumenon. Neophyte eaglets zealously ascending with dithyrambic cries through sensory and extrasensory soaring, conquering the peaks of both limited logical and unlimited illogical, refusing to be enslaved by the temporary and tragic tensity between somatus and asomatus. Heliacal bodies catheterizing the union of embodiment and emanation, uplifting our lament from the brink of ataxia, sun cascade after sun cascade. I don't want obscure awakenings. I want compelling awakenings. Charioteering intuitional journeys, eulogized prophecies, teleological ethics, perfected laws. How will I receive all this anthroposophy? Swirling in the time cyclones of involutionary and evolutionary forces, dismissing the noise of our tumultuous passions, our coarse footsteps, our swamped senses, ascetically regulating instincts and insights, disorientations and reorientations, grand rhythms of change, spurting flames of freedom within imprisoned dense false self, spreading vaporous sparkles within dynamic, purposeful true self, aligning the head and basic centers to subtler bodies, evading the snare of materialism and unslaked selfishness for mystic kindled values, primordial karma of imperfect duplexity, developing metamorphic urge of sublime synergism, the gifts of well-balanced pneuma and form. Auric bodies leading us along the noble middle way, opening the gates to privileged domains, gold torrent after gold torrent. I don't want shadowy flights, I want hierophanic flights, forerunning rare hylomorphisms, demiurgical cosmocratorus, seventh ray manifestations to track disharmonies. How will I actualize all this entelechy? colliding in hazy equivocations, in dilemmas and phantasms, in damned, unprovable realizations, marching through the remnants of civilizations, the vestiges of philanthropy, the ignorance of metaphysics, disheartened beings causing friction and disease, seeking full expression in deific euphonia, surmounting the deluding maelstrom of overwhelming astral uncertainty, sowing and sharing high-low energies of immaculate conception, deontically and ritualistically, giving exoteric schema to esoteric hypostasis, power visioning the magnanimous purpose of our existence, of our frenetic anabasis towards the unfading flare, in hope and desperation, until our fated transitions, holding our trophy of treasured epimethium, lucent bodies radiating through the unaltered monad, through the human primal whisper of all, light apex after light apex. We don't want a refracted hyperescence. We want an authentic hyperescence. Spinning sibylline voices, logoic plans, luminous consciousnesses, new age apocalypses. How will we ever enter all this hyper-Iranian? Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. And now all of you poets, you're all gonna get a message to send in your little bio link for under the video. So, and I believe if you notice that she's also a graphic designer and she has a book. So everyone else with your work and your, how people can reach you and follow you, that will all be coming. So thank you very much. We already have 4 people that want to come in later on. So a little bit of a switch up here because I didn't want to forget Alexandra and her request. She's far away. And so we're going to go with Molly is going to be next. If you want to get ready in a moment, Molly Pruitt.
She's online, she's looking straight at me.
Okay, yeah, okay, so Molly, you're next. And then locally, David, you're gonna be after Molly. And then we'll go over to Emerisi Zikali Zukundo. That's gonna be the next 3. So let's welcome everybody. Nice little round of applause, local from New Hartford, Connecticut, David Henry. Forget the Zoom. You do. Let's see.
David Henry, and I live in New Hartford, Connecticut, which is just a couple towns over. I'm going to read a couple poems from my book, These Moments in Progression. You can find me on YouTube and Amazon. David Henry, that's Henry with the I. Echo hip climate climbers. Oh, by the way, happy birthday in a couple days. Echo hip climate climbers, scaling the precarious cliff face on a problem-solving trek. In a series of profession positive moves, the upbeat selves grip the challenge, clinging to the rock of hopefulness, keeping on an upward track as pilgrims ascending sacred stairs, taking the best karma, least carbon path to the top, to the place of clarified spirit. Where sits the imagined Mother Nature, reciting an earth supplication, initiating a communal upgrade of attitudes and ways. In response, united people of planet adapt. In desperate love with the holy atmosphere, the metamorphic pliable persons evolve into enlightened primates, rhythmically inhaling oxygen-infused air. Sunlight to the rescue, with wind rushing in, powerful natural powers. The methodology in a series of choreographed steps in succession. Partnered conversion mechanisms to run the transformed civilization. The plan lays out in the certainty of daylight, planes of sunlit panes of magic glass, oriented to catch the bright abounding glow, aligned to the local cosmic light source. While tall power towers catch gusting breezes with rotating blades cutting the edge of air, nature's breath blows the pinwheel. Elements dance with components of technology, fueling the turns of motors, electrifying the fixtures, moving the motions of information, in collaborative existence with the life of planet Earth, embracing the modern way to be free. Thank you so much.
Thank you, David. David's part of our national, international beat poetry festival that happens every year also. And so I did say that Molly was next, and then I introduced David, making me a perfect person. So, okay, Molly, are you ready? Your smile this is a beautiful soul. Her poet, she's a work of poetry herself. Then I found out she wrote poetry too. So, Molly, everyone, thank you for being here.
Thank you. I'm in New Mexico. I'm living on Horse Mountain. I really don't have. I just took down a website, so there's not a way other than Gmail, and it's my name at Gmail, Molly Pruitt at Gmail. So that would be the only way. I have a couple of small pieces. The first one starts with the line from a poem by Young Lee. It starts, one day we'll lie down and not get up. Until then, we'll go on learning to recognize what we love, that it matters. Until then, we'll continue to stumble and rise up again. We'll fold the sheets, chop the spinach for breakfast, pull the young grass from the garden. We'll forget to send a card to the granddaughters. We'll burn the beets, have a flat tire. But slowly we learn. We learn that nothing is for our keeping, that the rains come and the drought, that the blue flax explode into blossom in the morning, and by afternoon have dropped off every petal. We learn to tend, to love, to cherish what comes to us for but brief moments, as if on loan. We learn not to give up on the peony, to fuss over her, to wait, and in the waiting, somehow, she blooms glorious pearls of blossom. We learn that love, like a dog's tail, is full of welcome and delight, that it too, like the dog, is here briefly to cherish until our loan is due and must be surrendered. Until then, we'll go on learning how to love. And the other one is Valentine's Day 2024. Prayer ties, 4 colors for 4 directions, 4 prayer ties for each grandchild. Colorful garland of ties hanging, draped through juniper branches, held together by threads and prayer. In Gaza, hanging in the rubble, bits of clothing, colorful, and body parts. Threads of family exploded, and innocence and hope. Is there ever enough? Enough power, enough threads of prayer, enough tears, enough no's, enough water to cleanse those that remain? A book title reads, When Love is Not Enough. Now is that time, this Valentine's Day, this century, on this suffering planet.
You good?
Yeah,
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And that's one of the reasons we're here, is voices where there, to give voice where there is no voice. And that's part of this whole portal idea, vision. And thank you very, 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 very much for being here and accepting the invitation, Molly. I appreciate that. She's a family friend, put it that way. Okay. Now, who did I say was next? That I'm gonna mess this whole thing up? I don't know why, I'm nervous, I'm never nervous. I am nervous.
Somebody national. No, somebody international.
Yeah,
Mbonisi Sakali Sumkunto.
right.
Let's see. Coming from Windsor, Ontario, Canada. There he is, there's that smile. This is a beautiful human being. Another who also writes poetry, his stories. He's an inspiration to so many people. It's unbelievable. He's just a glowing light. Thank you very much for being here. Love you, brother.
Thank you so much. Don't believe anything he says. Thank you so much for your poetry. This poem I'm going to give you is entitled, Who Would Have Thought? Who would have thought that black folk would wave words of cash thicker than their majestic lips, thicker than the sheets of smoke that rose when they burned down Black Wall Street, not knowing that we would rise from those ashes like the phoenix, and that matchsticks just happened to be our next of kin. Black diamonds that the world once refused to dig until it became too obvious how bright we shine from under this skin, that the layers of wealth that run underneath this melanin are a sworn testament unto themselves, that the veins that connect to the power grid of our ancestral names means that we are not just dark-skinned, but see through the dark. And with these proud, thick lips as the light switch, we speak loud and bright as lightning, rewriting the future in the same handwriting as Mansa Musa. Who would have thought that from a laughing stock to owning stock, black folk would turn the auction block on its head, choosing instead to bid on each other's genius, with each and every one of us as the highest bidder. Who would have thought it possible that we would melt down the chains that bind us into coins for a currency our very own, and that every piece of wood in the slave ships that combined us would become the bookshelves for a history that knows no revision, with a description of every single mineral they stole? Because who needs 40 acres when we are several planets of land short? What does one do with a single mule when there are countless heads of beasts that were driven over the cliff? Who needs to be painted with the same brush when we are such an explosion of color, which needs several forests of trees to account for the brush strokes? We are the new canvas, painted with shades of ebony and natural gold. We are the marbled streets of resilience that pour out of the avenues of an infinitely rich legacy. We are the bustling rhythm of a rekindled dream upon which Black Wall Street rises at last, not as a mere echo of the past, but as a symphony of redemption, conducted by the hands that once counted their losses in tears, not as a metaphor of our reputation, but a reclamation of wealth beyond currency, to that of identity, dignity, and the unyielding belief that despite the shadows of the past, we still cast bold silhouettes upon the pages of present time. Zumkond, thank you.
Every syllable, he means it. It's unbelievable. Thank you very much, and don't believe a word he says. Thank you very much, my friend. What a beautiful being. Okay, so in the room here next, let's see, Mary Jennings is gonna be coming up next. She's local. She's actually down from Massachusetts, from Chicopee, Massachusetts. After that, we're gonna, if you're gonna get ready, Linda Olson Graham from out on the Cape Cod there, up in P-Town. And then is Pankori here? You see Pankori is here. We can get a little confirmation on that. And if that's not the case, we'll find somebody else. She's not here yet, from India. She's over in Portugal. Are you ready, Mary? Okay, everyone go ahead for Mary Jennings.
Thank you, Cece. Good evening. I'm sorry, good afternoon, all. I'm going to read from a work in progress, a memoir in cinquain form, which I have entitled Cinquain or Swim. And this section from the memoir is self-explanatory, called Kept My Day Job. Artists not welcome here. I sublimate myself for the company's greater good. Rhinestone. Success, focal object after the downsizing. Wildlife mission was sold out, sucked in. A home I made out here while slugging away in a bureaucratic shark tank. Drudge work. Highlight of my career. I made an album with my colleagues, rock stars for a time. One hit. Camden, Whitman's last home, where we laid down our tracks. Come hear the wildlife singing, anthems. Whitman and I share bond, interior clerics. Got blackballed for indecency. Same path. Wanted my workplace to utilize me rightly, not for grunt work and amusement. Good for? Work hard to gain respect. What do they really want? My subjugation to their word, debased. No place I could rise up in my workplace. Settled for being reliable aid, rutted. I'm done. I've had enough of disproportionate regard for one over others. Got none. You want the details of what went down and out? Look up Cinquains for a Mad World. FOMO. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Mary has been with me in my the Human Room Open Voice, THROV project that goes back to almost, I think, 2000 in December, which is another give Mike a voice thing. And thank you very much, Mary, for being a great friend and loyal way back. Linda Olson Graham, I believe you're here to save the earth or something like that, if I recall. That's your book.
Well, I am, that's the title of the book.
Yep, okay.
It's kind of fun.
All straight from Provincetown.
Oh, thank you so much. So I was thrilled to see Sandy Yanone and Michael Anthony Ingram here. They actually were the catalyst to me being on their shows and then meeting Cece and other things evolving since then. My writing, a lot of it started in Denver, and I'll share a little bit of those lines in short poems. Sky edge, mountain peaks, a sea of city lights illumines nighttime in the minds of men. Awaken, still news of joyous quiet. Fill full the day. Visualize being on a spaceship, walking into infinity. Energetic truth is the deep truth within us. Let go of all things that want to die. Have an appetite for the death dance of the blood. Dark night of the soul is a place of transformation. Silence is a way to move towards essence. Love is not something that we do. It's like the breath. Peace will come, and with it many reflections of the light. To be deep is ultimate surrender. Live in the confluency of life. So there's more of those lines. I have a website, Earth, Ocean, Heavens, and it's the name that my poetry and writing is under, Earth, Ocean, Heavens. And so the website is that name. And there's a book that I copyrighted in 2015 that's a 76-page book of sailing photos with Haiti and Panama, and then sky photos that I had exhibits of. There's one above my head there that, so Earth, Ocean, Heavens, all three, that website and the name of the book. And the name of my writing. So I was in Sarasota, Florida in the early 2000s, and I wrote a lot of new poems, and I'll share some of those because they do apply to what's going on the planet. One happened just before I went to Sarasota on 9/11. I had an exhibit up at a bank on Cape Cod. I saw that plane hit the World Trade Center building. The next morning I woke up inspired to create a new piece of art. I extracted 2 lines that were in one of the pieces of art already and blew them up into a 30 by 40 frame. So a long complex question, simply stated, is one of the lines. Has the time arrived when humanity is able to digest the remarkable reality of just how simple it could be to shift the Earth's vibration? And then the other line that I put in that piece of art the morning of September 12th was shared about the French philosopher Teilhard de Chardin, who created the word noosphere to describe a layer of thought that hovers above nature and acts as universal consciousness. It's what people think of as the one mind or the collective consciousness. Chardin actually felt that our thoughts go up to an energy field that surrounds the planet and that they're reflected back. And that was when I came up with this philosophy that if enough people could quiet their thinking minds just for a few minutes daily, what would be reflected back would be more peaceful, more calm, and more loving. Beginnings from creation breathe peace and joy and balance. They are what reality is made of. Humanity chooses. Breathing, how conscious we are of our breath in each moment as it enters and exits our body, determines our experience. Letting go of thinking is an essential component. We, as a collected race of people, could enter what's called heaven, here, now. We simply need to choose it. All the beings of all the worlds are watching now, so desirous of our upliftment, praying to mankind to hear the calls. They've been in a steady stream, beaming to our heart's desires, caressing what we say we want. We could see the end continuum as clearly as they do, rising in the bluest skies, fully in our heart for love, being one with God. The earth is flying now. Time span meaning has new dimension. Space before us beckons. Higher realms are ours. Ready, jump. And in parentheses, it says, my parachuting command 1978. Heaven is a breath away. It's this close. Look, I'm breathing. Consciousness can be multiplied by mankind watching breathing. What a concept. An even larger concept. Breathe in through the crown, out through the navel. Hence, heaven. Could it be that simple? So a website that I had used to end with this line, and it's, please hold the thought with me that peace on earth and calmer weather patterns can easily happen in a moment or two of silence and enough of the collective mind. I really feel that there could be a major shift on the planet if enough people quiet, and just a simple thing, enough people intentionally quieted their thinking. It's wonderful to be with all of you. I really thank Margaret and Cece, and it's just great to see Sandy and Michael in the Zoom room. So thank you so much.
So coming up next, thank you again for all that you do and what you believe and for servicing to raise our consciousness with yours. And Corey is here, and she's going to be next. She's from India, and I believe she's beginning her globe hopping years. And I believe she's from Lisbon. She's going to be reciting to us now from Lisbon, Portugal, as she begins her global travels in her attempt to make this world a better place and do the beautiful work she does. And I'd like a special thank you for the work that she did recently, bringing together a bunch of poets to do some work for the people of in Gaza and that beautiful reading she put together. So thank you for that. So everyone, welcome Pen Corey.
Thank you, very kind. Thank you, Cece. Thank you. So nice to see all of you, my dear friends. Some of you I don't know, but beautiful poetry. Like Cece said, you know, I have been reading on the Ukrainian war and Gaza mostly, but tonight I thought of bringing something else. So I'll read a poem on Eve teasing, and this is called The New Crisis of the Third Person. still present, changing faces, forms, places, times, and ways, sometimes in the guise of a friend, sometimes in a foe, clear, eminent danger. And suddenly, recently, in the presence of a doorman, a hotel doorman, who extends his arm to grab the handle of the door while looking the other way, so suddenly, so fast that he touched me. And the man jumped in the apology act. Oh, I am apologize. This is colloquial English in India. I'm so sorry. When did deliberate insulting followed by rounds of remorse get in vogue? But somewhere along the line it did. What a dangerous trend. Why should I forgive this suited, booted man looking one way, reaching the other, that too standing at the door? Why should I ask him, is he tired of standing or is he just being bad ass, plain rude, impolite? But having decided to have snacks there, I take a table. Man disappears and appears to open the door at exit time. Remembers and recognizes. Doesn't look like an innocent accident. From the past series of events, the big train incident, cleaners harassing the entire American saga, stalker complaining, how do I track and more importantly, catch this stalker? Why does he always present an opportunity for my partner to maybe side with an aggressor, a harasser, a plain attacker? When is this Eve teasing ending? So that was a sort of a Eve teasing feminist poem, but it's really, as you can say, thank you, as it is, you can see it's really, it was published in the Ravencage Zine in July 2023. Thank you so much, Sandy. It's so good to see you. It's after a long time. Yeah, I think I have time for one more, or should this be? Maybe I'll quickly read one more. It's called The Enjoyment Predicament. What a dilemma, what an enigma. The breeze is sweet, blissful morning rain. Yet why do I not enjoy my daily evening walk today? Is it the waterlogged road, the flooded working class neighborhood? Is it the sad rickshaw puller begging on the street? I recognize from the other day, is enjoyment a state of mind, letting go of even empathy. Sure, no one holds grudges so tight as to not enjoy the twilight. Venus glittering in evening dusk, so what is it then? Search for true love. As the working class neighborhood tells me, they all have it. They'll tell you day in and day out. If you're a single woman in India, everybody will catch hold of you and they will tell you to just get married. As a working class neighborhood tells me, they all have it. How ironic can life be? The scratches on my maid's face after each drunken brawl tells it all. Yet she herself never forgets to remind, I need a man alive. Need to accept one of the proposals the intellectuals endorsing renunciation look like hypocrites. Are they all not enjoying? Writing unauthorized prescriptions, I don't have to take any of their doses. But why are they here on my terrace in my walk? Without being here? Why are they here on my terrace in my walk without being here? Meetings are nice, such as this one. I intend on enjoying that and this, but no, I don't pressurize, simply organize. And I mingle the swaying treetop nods at my look. The wind takes my hand, the white flower lasts to disappear in darkness, resists, stars twinkle, I rejuvenate. Thank you, and I will hope to see you again. My dear friends, big thank you. I am just immigrating to a new continent, and it's a brand new experience, and it's so good to see you all. Thank you, and thank you again, Cece. Thanks. Thank you, Cornwall Library. I have a special relationship with libraries in the United States. I love this country very much. So, okay, bye.
So, okay, thank you very, very much. Next up is a local poet here from Canton, Connecticut. We're gonna invite up to the podium here, Virginia Shreve, I got it right, Virginia Shreve. And she's an amazing poet. I met her. She sometimes hosts with Debbie Tucson, Gilday, for the National Beat Poetry Festival, which is gonna go on again. And that's another beautiful thing that's happening on the planet, Debbie's work with the National Beat Poetry Festival. And thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
I'm actually I'm from Collinsville, Connecticut. The first one I'm going to read is When There Is Moon. When there is moon, there should be wolves. In a pinch, I suppose one could employ coyotes, but coyotes are known drunkards and tend to giggle inappropriately after all. She-wolf glides through night, wears shadows like her own silvered pelt, lopes to the highest point, sings moon song of ultimate loneliness and belonging. Who else? Moon says. Well, lovers and mourners perhaps, with their pointed white teeth, their urgency and their pleas. I give them light and beauty, the lullaby of tides, and my sublime indifference. Sometimes, oddly, it is enough. Give me lust-screaming foxes and the hissing chuckle of fisher cats, things that hide and sidle and swoop, blood sacrifices, last exhalations, exaltations, owls, wings wheeling. What is more beautiful than the slow blade of an owl's wing silhouetted against the painted face of the moon, the held breath of night, and sometimes a sort of peace. Some declare there are no larger gods than me. I am flattered, of course. I am quite spectacular. But I think their imagination is limited. Who do the stones worship? And the silent, eloquent trees? Bats and bobcats and rabbits in their brief, fecund lives. My congregation of madmen, drunkards, poets, and lovers, there is some overlap that must be said. And I do like when a poet lets a dog wander through a poem, pissing now and then, wagging almost always. And drowning while trying to embrace me is not the worst death. Lipo sits at my shoulders these days, a fine man, but really quite the natterer, it must be said. Someday my luster will be lost. It is difficult to maintain one's mystery and godhood. When they build shantytowns, dive bars, and mini-marts on you, I will become just one tiny moon among an infinite number. When things that should be are not, when so right they should but do not, cannot, soon enough. So now, while we still can, while we still remember myth in our wild blood and ecstatic bone, while we still can believe in beauty raw and cruel, ungraphed, unarchitectured, unboxed, unplotted, let us say, when there is moon, there should be wolves. Before we must stare into the glittering, fathomless eyes of those who would build and destroy gods.
Beautiful. Thank you very, very, very much. Okay, AJ, are you ready to come up? So we're gonna, and then after AJ, we have, and I'm really glad she's here. She's from Bogota, Colombia. She's over in LA. She almost couldn't make it. She tried to call me. I'm shutting off my phone before. And it's also really happy to hear. So we're gonna also hear from Antonetta Villamil. I'm gonna pronounce all the names wrong. And Sandy, you're getting lots of love and you deserve it. I hear that. You're coming up. Okay, so thank you. Well, you might toward anyway, whatever. It's all good. Who's nervous? Not me. I love you guys so much. This is unbelievable. AJ, are you ready?
Sure.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Let me. Well, good
Las
afternoon, man.
Vegas, Nevada, everyone, from Las Vegas, Nevada, AJ, a very prolific man, 707 every day, for over 800 something episodes in a row. He's online every day, 707 out of LA. Or out of Vegas, you're Vegas or LA, I forget.
Vegas.
Vegas, out of Vegas,
Okay.
right? You're good. Thank you.
Okay. It's an honor to be here. It really is. It's an honor to be here. And CC asked me to be. I was like, sure, sure, whatever you need, I got you. But my name is AJ Houston, and I just write. So let me just read the poem. Title this poem is Pen Therapy. Tied an anchor to the tip of my pen. This time it must not hurry. No one truly knows when the time is right or wrong, not yet possible. Some of the nows should have showed up later, or not at all. Are there accountants sitting with an abacus and calculator, seeking to hold time accountable for love delays? Who knew silence between heartbeats were escape routes? I've witnessed love leave as if guided by launch codes or a global positioning system. There's an albatross on my tongue. Can't remember emotions being too massive for sound to carry. It got me missing days. Some of my past Mondays are lost in the shadows of midnight. Keep hearing Thursdays cry out, as if Friday may not make it. It is delayed in transit. Has to be this ink. Has to be this ink heavier than memories of our past. Scraped from bark and branches in sundown towns. Darker than the darkest coal. Blacker than the moonless traveler, one-waying in boats to destinations only God knows where. It has become impossible to lift the burden of history, stripped bare to the bone, a tale of woe many historians are too afraid to share. Doctors will claim desperation quicker than stress. I bet millions of ancestors and their descendants still suffer survivor's remorse. If you ask me, I would define depression as rows and rows of caution tape wrapped and tucked tightly in sackcloth, ashes and black bodies. This pain in the center of my soul has been drenched, bathed, drowned in the shallow pond of regret. American terror keeps arriving early, snatching breath from unarmed Black passerbys, transforming darkness to clouds, to eyes into tears, been screaming for years, only to discover no one's listening. The hollow of my chest doesn't have an echo. Here I sit, cradling sadness in the arms of my father's father. Tears of Black mothers have been known to flood a corner, a street, a courthouse, a precinct, a nation, a continent. We keep missing moments. Aren't battle cries supposed to be louder? Shouldn't it be able to reverberate from heavens? Could be this ink. Could be this ink. Could ink be the ammunition we need to load in our muskets, our nines, our shotguns, and 45s? Dip the tips of tongues in blood. Maybe then we can speak stolen or English or American. Truth, how we got here. What next really looks like. Who subtracted all the love from our melanin? Why are we not peaceful to each other? Why are we unable to neighbor again in our hoods? What shade of forgiveness can we color our hair this time? No one will explain you cannot save yourself when drowning. America's too busy flooding Black townships to offer swimming lessons in pools purposely drained of its life's liquid. If you should question why we as a people not comfortable, wading in your rivers, riding in life rafts, boats, ships, cruises, there's been more than 50 million souls trafficked in one way. So many bodies lost, the ocean has grown weary. Sharks travel the same routes. They remember better than we do. The ghost of our ancestors, conjurers of hurricanes, followed the same paths we got lost in. The one who birthed me is no longer here. I'm learning to hold myself. And like her, demand I be better. These days, my pen thinks it's writing psalms and scriptures, but me, I write in lullabies and once upon a times, and can't count the number of warriors who abandoned their weapons, left their pens in puddles and heaps and piles. So many broken thoughts and promises, flooding the bottom of my soul. I'm an army of thought, holding a posse of pens, drinking ink by the gallon, with the sworn duty of writing life on pages made of wishes, prayers, and hopes. I never asked CC or Chagra how much time I have, so I don't know. But thank y'all for listening. I appreciate it. What did you say, sir? I didn't hear you.
I didn't think much of, it's everyone's on honor system here. So, you got a 30-second one? You wanna take a little one? Cause I don't know, you don't know, we don't know. I know people are waiting, but.
I have a quick love poem. I'll offer it. The title of this love poem is called For Me to You. It says, I once wrote a poem on your vertebrae, only I can translate. It was written in the language our forefathers lost. I once wrote an orchestra in the nape of your neck. No one else knows the instruments, so they can play it if you pay them to. I left my fingerprints on the inside of your cells, so even if you don't call, your body will. See, you are my poem, not that I wrote you, but I was given the instructions to your thoughts. So even you're not thinking of me, I'm the ghost haunting the very place you stand in. See, once I sing a lullaby to your dreams, and every night your dreams tap me on the shoulders, wanting to be rocked to sleep. Your heart stops on purpose, knowing these palms are the paddles to keep love beating. I only believe you descended straight from heaven because the last etchings in history of anyone ever tasting anything so sweet was when Ezekiel was presented with the scrolls. See, even your legs think of Moses. See, you are my poem, not that I wrote you. I can never find ink, the color of your smile, paper as smooth as your skin, words that equal in full potential I see in your eyes, your arms. Your arms told me we were the perfect embrace. God, I wish I had wrote you. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it.
No, sometimes after the poet reads, a lot of times at these open mics and these online Zooms and things like that, we give a lot of feedback, a lot of lines. Some people are doing it in the chat, and we're saving time today. But everyone here has an incredible talent of never being bridled to say what they have to say and to give their full passion, yet at the same time offer some kind of answer to not never giving up. Just never giving up, just to stay the course, that we're not gonna fail as a life form on a planet, even though most people think so. All right, so next we're gonna have up, thank you for showing up, Antoinette, and say thank you to your friend, Liv Tobin. I did get the message, just I couldn't shuffle the whole thing off and shut the phone off at the same time. And if she's, people wanna do this in the future, tell them to get in touch with me. She's from Bogota, Colombia. She's in LA right now, I think. And for any of you that are from 2 different locations, go ahead and share that information with us. And just more love, more love, more love. And let's hear another poet here from Bogota, Colombia, and just tell us where you are and share your soul with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Cici. I am in Los Angeles. I live here for a few years now. And I have 3 poems. The first one, I am the house in a dream. I have never dreamed of a house with wings, a house that flies from a dream, makes you homeless. The river lighthouse in my dream makes a tomorrow. The house on my shoulder carries me along the road. My homeless heart wanders the razor sharp night. I carry a house on a dream made up of today. I am the homeless house on the street. My days piled up in a car. I have a dream that turns into nightmare. A house of water in my dream cools my thirst. A house of fresh air in my dream dries my tears of outrage. A house of earth in my dream needs a key to enter. A house of fire in my dream needs reparations. I have a legally binding house called jail for the banker. I am the house in a dream for your dream and my dream. Mortgage free, war free, predatory loan free. Bankers in custody, break up the war oligarchy, retake our democracy for your dream and Earth's dream. The second poem has a title Tunka Tipi, Stone People's House, Sweat Lodge for Mother's Earth. I wrote this poem. I'm from the Amazon region in Colombia. And when I travel to the United States, I meet with the people, the Tamba people, Shoshone people in the Santa Monica Mountains at a sweat lodge. And it's very similar to a ritual that we do for calling rain and calling the Pachamama to be at peace and to help to basically we are guarding the jungles as people. So this is a prayer and also a call to action to defend Mother Earth. Temezcal para Pachamama. Tanka Shila Tanka Shewokielo means ancestors inside the stones, please hear our plea. Please hear our lament. Ancestors of earth and water, listen to our plea. Ancestors of earth and fire, witness this wound. Pachamama, Pachamama, Tankashila, Tankahea, Shewokielo, Pachamama. We dig out our hearts looking for the stone of ancestors' hands in our chest. Find ourselves ageless and burning fast in the long roads of their fingers. We enter the gatehouse, and as we sweat, the Arctic melts in our veins. Naked from pride, we roam under volcanic rocks looking for the sign in the flames of earthy womb. Touch ancient fever with the eyes of our forehead. Ancestors inside the rocks, let your light in torrents of song steer us into this lodge of capitalist usury. Blinks in the sky the constellation Phoenix as these words heal our lament into outrage, inflame our fever with the strength of old voices. Witness the outrageous injustice. Free the children from prison cages at the border. Stop the genocide of Palestine and other pueblos, peoples. Today, let our crescent eyes drench the night. We daydream the awakening of Mother Earth. Witness the injury, grass root to heal her wounds. Ancestors inside their rocks, unite our hands. Ancestors of earth and water, heal this wound. Pachamama, Pachamama, Tankashilam, Tankahea, Shewokielo, Pachamama, Pachamama, Pachamama. And the last is a very short song I wrote in Spanish. The title is the only part in English. Is a Llorona to a heroic act of protest, the self-immolation of Aaron Bushnell on February 28 of 2024 in front of the Israel Embassy in Washington. Yo no quiero ser cómplice llorona del genocidio contra Gaza. Grito desde el fuego en protesta llorona de mi cuerpo ardiendo en llamas. Paren el genocidio llorona, nos dice un soldado heroico. Un piloto fuerza aérea llorona, un hombre de honor y ley. Paren el genocidio llorona contra niños y mujeres. Pueblo de Palestina indefenso, yo soy Aaron Bushnell. Aaron Bushnell llorona, Aaron Bushnell. Aaron Bushnell, la Santa Muerte te sea leve. Aaron Bushnell. Thank you so much.
So that the pronunciation is something we all hear.
Llorona.
Your name.
Oh.
Say your name.
Antonieta Villamil.
Thank you very, very much. Now, there's a big thing when it comes to listening, and I love poetry, but there's very few times that a poet can actually make my cells, make my ears look pretty dumb, because my cells heard every sound you made. That's beautiful. You have to have a pretty sacred soul to produce a sound like that. That's a very beautiful, beautiful thing. Thank you very, very much for being here and all you did to care about becoming here. And how beautiful it is that a poet can tell you about a poet, can tell you about a poetry reading, and then you find out about this poet, and then it just happens. So never stop sharing those you know that have voices that deserve to be lifted amongst us. And it's not about ourselves or each other as much about just imagine if this voice was not heard and you could make a difference rather than caring about ourselves sometimes. So thank you for that, for all those who helped make it possible for some of you to be here through others. So we have a poet here in the room that we met up at a writing situation we go to over in a local library up north a little bit. And so welcome everybody, Joanna Hayhurst, and as she's coming up, I want to let everyone know that after Joanna, we're gonna have Freddie. Freddie's gonna be here, Freddie, one second. One second, hold on, I'm looking it up. I'm not nervous, I'm happy. I figured that one out. Freddie Fonsaca is gonna be coming up, and then LKN Poet is gonna be after, so just to let you know. And there's more to come, so thank you for all your patience, those of you that are still waiting to read. And we know that your gift is on its way, so thank you. Okay,
Yeah, that's fine. Well, I'm pretty overwhelmed with all of the beauty here and the talent, and it's just going right to my soul. I'm going to read only one poem to make room for all of you. It's a little different in tone. The Atlantic Ocean's Address to Westerly, Rhode Island, 2024. People, honestly, you just do not face reality. Listen to me. I am ocean. I don't fight clean. Do you see me sitting right here on a rising sea level? Just add high tide, full moon, and I'm suited up. First thing I'll do is toss your precious sand beaches over my shoulders. Gone. I will grab whatever's in my way. Phragmites, a joke. They'll go down with a simple one too. Out of my way, pathetic wooden fences, ridiculous docks. Boulders, I will bury you. I want your streets. I will flood it all. You will taste salt in the water you poured for your children. And what will stop me? I've read your sorry 200+ page pre-disaster plan. Hazard mitigation, you call it? Mitigation? I'm an ocean. Just get out of my way. I'm sick of people planning. Do something. Make it a fair fight at least. Hurricane wind is coming with me. You're toast.
okay. We are an hour and a half into a 2-hour event, and we have 10 poets to go, so. That's all I'm gonna say, we're just gonna keep going, so, Freddie, you're up now, thank you very much, everyone give Freddie a hand, and for those of you that are on standby, just, we'll do, it's up to the house. If the house gives us an extra 10 or 15 or 20 minutes, that's enough, if they give us a little after that, then we'll see what happens, but it's gonna be up to them, they're overtime. So thank you very much. Everyone give Freddie a hand. Thank you.
Ah, so I was muted, but here I am. Okay, my name is Freddie Niagara Fonseca. I'm originally from South America, but I've lived in Europe for something like 30 years, and over 30 years I've been in Iowa in the United States. So I have a poem here that is kind of classical in nature, but also colloquial. And it is about the three basic questions in life. Where do we come from? What are we doing here? Where are we going? And what do we remember from before we were born? And it is in the form of the zodiac. Zodiacal. I've come a long way down out of my sign, crossing my mother's womb in 9 months' time, and launched my life upon this earthly course, forgetting much about my stellar source. Sometime before the hour of my birth, I saw a curious little speck called Earth. And when I took a closer look, I found what's making stars, the sun, the world go round. Upon that globe, two schools of thought exist. There's East, there's West, and both in turn insist. One party says romantic love is all. The other swears it made all mankind fall. They argue day and night about the latter. But what is life without some law of matter? I've long been thinking how to solve this riddle. My view has always been, well, in the middle. When scholars, wise men, and the like discussed this tricky matter, most were all nonplussed. Some would tell you why it might not matter. And with God not talking, each knew better. But hey, why can't they see the clear-cut facts? Where would man be if all refrained from sex? I'll say, let East be East and West be West. I guess what's best for me is best. I studied the age-old battle of the sexes, how fire, water, earth, and air affect us. What's driving Jack to Jill and Jill to Jack, and everything about the zodiac. I'm reminded of my brightest situations, watching heaven's mighty constellations. The Milky Way would hint at realms unseen and point at hidden worlds I once had seen. Of planets, Venus had great influence with glimpses of romantic opulence. I roamed in timelessness and endless space, with galaxies rotating past my face. My mind returns to radiant times on high, where all was one across a boundless sky. This starry hall, the universe was mine. There was no trace of anything like time. This was my soul, my home, my godlike all. Where was the world, that funny little ball? The zodiac sat poised upon my hands of gold, and nothing would disturb those days of old. That deep celestial vision was my heart, emitting signs depicted on my chart. And there, some being outside space and time created vistas, epic, grand, sublime. And love was everywhere, because I was the first and last beyond effect or cause. And I was dwelling in my house of bliss, where all I ever knew was simply this. The gems of purity and wisdom were the lasting things that really mattered there. Those glorious days when I beheld the pearl, where only noble symbols would unfurl. A spark has dimmed and left the grand idea. An age perhaps had passed, and soon a sea with islands strewn appeared before my eye, and I was whisked to earth, out of the sky. I think that two opposing hemispheres just made a deal to have and hold me dear. So East and West could show what they had found to make this earthly sphere go round and round. Both schools of thought are still at war on earth, yet both embraced the wonder of my birth. I still recall the joy, the awe, the smiles my parents shared. They've made my life worthwhile. If tears flow down my If tears flow down my cheeks on certain nights, it dawns on me day in, day out, and night. It is because that paradise, God's throne, was gone, and all that love I once had known. A day of new existence looms ahead, where I must make my own terrestrial bed. The light is there, and if it fades with sorrow, there still is hope. The sun will rise tomorrow. As I was being raised with love, I pledged to seek what shall unite both East and West, and live my life to find the good in man till I return to who I was and am. Thank you all for listening.
Be good.
I will put some
Be good.
chat in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So next up, we're gonna have LNK poet, Lacan, like if I can pronounce it right, if he wants to correct me, that's a beautiful thing. He's from the Philippines, just an amazing being, once again, a light. I love talking to him, and listening to him as a friend and as a poet. So everyone have a nice hand for Lacan.
Thank you so much, CC. Magandang umaga. Good morning, everyone. It is almost 4 a.m. here in Manila. Can you hear me? Sorry. Sorry, I heard someone. But yeah, moving on. I am Lacan, without the word poet. And my name is not Elkian or Lycan Lacan. It's Lacan. So, and I am from Manila, Pilipinas, or in English, Manila, the Philippines. And I would be having just one poem today, and it's going to be coming from my debut collection that will be released end of July, actually July 28th, this year at the Poetry Festival, Singapore. And I have to say, trigger warning. And this is about rape. I am a rape survivor, and I will not permit silence to be used as a weapon for this crime. The title of this poem is called Labeled. Waking up would never be the same. Being drugged never felt this hollow. My disdyed body stitched to another I just met a few hours ago. I couldn't see much, but forgetfulness remembers him. How he unbuttoned my breast with his fist clenched, flicking the threads of how to be dishumane. I did mumble if I could keep even the holes that made me breathe. I couldn't. He even unzipped the broken parts that made me less human. What is less than that? Pretending doesn't work. I couldn't trick my senses tonight. I wanted to lie. Being undressed liberates my skin from his whiskey breath. I knew I was drunk. Not enough to blank a memory of how the moon is a coward and when stars are traitors. The sky hid him like an accomplice. Time becomes an abuser's ally, a bystander that tripped longer, coming itself drenched like his shirt, striped, being stripped beside my cheek that forgot how my mother kisses it. Still are my weak eyes ironed to a pillow. His eye was in my pillow. It knew exactly how to blink away the whole parts of me. They're gone. I'd never see them again. He knew how to pin me lower than the bed. I felt his unconquerable hunger, palm on wrist, lips on lobe, laughter on prayer, over and over and over again. I thought it was over. Again. There are others. 4 a.m. was my redemption. Exhaustion. I wore it like a half-sleeved savior. I'm a believer. God knows patience. Being more naked than death. It wasn't enough for my folded body. Being limboed in sheets until morning. They clothed me how they ripped me. Unaware. You know, consent isn't a brand. They branded me, sliding me in a tailored fit and psalm sewn with a marked fabric tainted silver without lines on it. It blends rape. They wrapped it without names, leaving the tatters of my person on a dawned sidewalk of a city, pining the silhouette of my loss. But you know, some say it looks good on me. I'm still wearing it 7 years later. Because today is June 10, 2017. Maraming salamat. Thank you very much.
It's just amazing that what this medium and this art form does and gives to us. To not be silenced, even when someone appears to have taken your soul and say you can't have it back, you can still write your words and make others who are silenced and don't have a voice know that they're not alone. So, you know, applause is falls short of a world of thank yous and love yous for the work that you do and who you are. And don't stop writing. Thank you very much. Come. Coming up next year, local poet, again, another beautiful soul from right here and live in the room. Pauline Yates is coming to the microphone. And then after that, we're gonna have Dr. Michael Anthony Ingram, who is a beautiful soul, who has interviewed hundreds of poets, and many of you are here. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. You can find me around June on Substack. The first poem I'm going to read is from a collection called Create. It's called Find Your Voice. Find your voice, land on it, learn how to listen profoundly to yourself. This is the beginning move. Unleash your gift, the talent located at your core, a knowing always carried there within you. Honor its origin as your own. Speak out, sing it loud, write your story on blank pages, scatter them before the world. Go public, get soul naked, flaunt your genius, launch it on the airwaves, strut it in the streets. Magnificent and humble, invite the world. Here, my gift to you, that is to find your voice. This next poem is for a group of poems called Love from Liverpool. It's an autobiographical series growing on. This first one's called Merseybeat. We loved you, Paul McCartney, upstart lads like you who've cruised on joy through poverty, shining like a totem. Whip-smart, tender working guys who knew their measure, never let a gig go by. Schoolgirls in white socks, straw hats with ribbons, Fridays, 12 o'clock. We cut out of Notre Dame Collegiate, slide by Sister Bernard at the gate, hop a 44 to town, lunchtime sessions at the Cavern, dark with innocence. There we found an impudence they never sold in Marks and Sparks, confidence that cut through wealth and warring classes, landed on our moment, Merseybeat, love me do. The sisters warned us life is built of sin and sacrifice. We never listened. Guilt could take a pass. We'd face it down with attitude, dare to dream, dare to ask, give gratitude and claim a future. Live the music. That's the blast. I shared the morning before first kiss from the same collection. One single kiss, an English field of clover grass, fragrant from an early rain. June sun sparking backlit through the halo of his blonde boy curls, his gaze alert with blue intent. At 16 in those eyes, I saw my beauty for the first time. Power in our surrender, cool lips delicate as raindrops, moist on mine, while clouds of tenderness exploded in the periwinkle sky. Alerted in an instant to a knowing that transcended Latin, calculus, biology, reprimands of Sister Paul Marie, a new enraptured world of sacramental alchemy. Childhood rules and certitudes dissolved inside the grace of sacred boundaries, eyes open to an innocence only early lovers come to see. One kiss, his legacy. In July, he died at 17. This one's called The Music of Trees, from Gasping at Beauty. A poet spoke of children's laughter hidden in the foliage. I know those sacred melodies. They shimmer through cathedral forests, put Notre Dame to shame in Paris. Lyrical inheritance that human ears can hardly hear nor bear. If you listen close in summer, when silence settles with the dusk, you can trace a resonance like polished nickel bells about the size of August raindrops. That spike-flushed skin as cicadas sing out ancient ecstasy on steamy, saturated nights. A swish of leaves as autumn lands like sidelong incantations. Threads of shredded copper slip-slide through a ruffled breeze. Cooling rhythms settle. Circumspection, a suggestion in the clear October sky. Swaying sentinels, they breathe the world in unison, ride a hushed cacophony, slip stream shared in canopy, dance outside of time, beneath the listening sky.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you, Margaret, for hosting us. And us all reading on the patience of her beautiful soul and giving that. Thank you. Dr. Michael Anthony Ingram is up next. Are you ready, Michael?
Yes, I am.
Washington, D.C. Beautiful soul. Thank you. Let us hear you.
I do bring you greetings from Washington, D.C. And my name is Michael Anthony Ingram. I host the poetry podcast, Quintessential Listening, Poetry Online Radio and YouTube. And to the 9 of you that have already been guests on my show, I say hello. It's almost like a family reunion. So I'm glad to be here. Cece, thank you so much. I really feel honored by the invitation. I'd like to share 2 pieces. Here's the first, Grief, My Silent Friend. My life unraveled tonight, falling apart among the threads of sorrow. Grief, my only friend, stood silently beside me, echoing my loss. I was suffocated by the solitude. A chilling question whispered in the void. What dawn awaits this broken shell? Grief, still reeling from the shock, offered no solace. His voice choked by the shared pain, despite the stillness, a glimmer of understanding appeared. The ashes of the past could be the beginning of a new dawn, one adorned with quiet hues of acceptance and gentle strength. Opportunities vanish like whispers in the wind. Seize them before they become echoes. Here's the second. Grammatically incorrect, excuse me, a spoken word symphony. They try to box me in, pin me down with labels, nouns that hang, heavy verbs that dictate my every move. But I am not an object to be possessed, nor a marionette with strings for limbs. I am not a whisper of is or was, not a future tense that can be dictated. My being is a hurricane, ever shifting, rewriting its own narrative, unfurling in defiance of their finite definitions. Forget your adjectives, your modifiers that diminish me. My light burns too bright to be dimmed by their pale descriptions. I am not dependent on their approval, their scales of good and bad. I wear my uniqueness as a crown, a tapestry woven with prayers of resilience and fire. Conjunctions cannot connect me to their expectations. Prepositions cannot place me beneath their gaze. I am not an afterthought, a footnote in their grand narrative. My voice will rise, a chorus untamed, unconfined by their rules. Yes, I am grammatically incorrect. A sentence that breaks the mold. My language is the language of rebellion, a symphony of the marginalized, the misunderstood. It sings of freedom, of carving my own path, of being emphatically me, unapologetically me. Take me as I am. A riot of colors, a whirlwind of emotions. I'm the sunrise, bursting through cracked pavements, the divine bloom, that desert sand. I am not an ever, but an evolution, a testament to the beauty that lies beyond the confines of your textbook grammar. So let them parse me, analyze me, label me with their sterile terms. I will laugh in the face of their limitations, for I am free, not just grammatically, but in my soul, in my spirit, in my very essence of being. There is nothing that about me that can be described as a noun, a verb, or cage. I cannot be either and or budded out of existence. I am the phoenix that rises from the ashes, wings ablaze, forever soaring beneath the reach of someone else's prescribed world. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Appreciate every word. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, next is gonna be from Denmark. Paul, Lindgaard Demgaard. Oh, if I got anywhere near that, I'm a happy man. Oh, he also comes to the Human Room Open Voice and sometimes reads in more than one language, so I'm not sure what we're gonna be gifted with, but thank you very much, welcome, and after that, we're gonna invite back Leslie, who read for Nick early on, and she's a wonderful local poet, so more about her in a moment. Thank you, all yours.
Thanks, great, it's great to be here. I'll read three short poems in English, and here comes. Hill of hidden life, triptych hides shadow, point sticks out under heron, bright field breaks off blind. Surface of the lake whips up darkness far away, dogs are coming close. Forgotten facade vanish, ask for personality, ice cold crack in cone. Diving line allows the dark ridge of a ghetto, kestrel still in air. No way to go back, trolls and kings are forgotten, hill of hidden life. The gable. Here the will to move is another than it usually is. Down in front of the other end, everything takes place in the movement of a soul. You can walk across the bridge, but you do not know what you are heading for, because everything here is worn out. I go around the back, and here all the tree roots are scattered all over. In the middle of the will, a room like below another person without river. You're getting closer, but from the other side, another person without a will. If you stay at the gable, the place will be yours, yet a place without a will. It is a dream I have always had, which has been here for a long time. It must be my idea of place, although I cannot get in. Again, I'm in love with the gable in itself, an isolated place with no opening. The illuminated lyre. I had never been so close to the ground before without touching it. The shadows of the plants have their own night sky no one had told you about. Projection is shadow for its own land. You want to talk to someone who is another one than yourself. I imagine you without meeting you. If the same grass always changes in apparently recognition, it is always the same dream. The paths are not mine, and without any other imagination, we manage to meet. The illuminated lyre lights up by itself. I would like to think that the grass changes if I walk another way. Thanks. It's great to hear all these poets. Really great. I like to be here.
Thank you, thank you. We like that you're here. Thank you very, very much. That was eloquent of you. He's got a very thick accent. I've heard him before. You nailed it. Your English was beautiful today. Thank you very much for taking the time.
Yeah, I would like to do it in
Yeah,
Danish.
you're really sharp. Thank you. Leslie, Elias, who read for Nick. Jacobs, who's not here today, his dear friend, he's in the hospital, and we mentioned that, we might as well. He's a great guy, great love. But thank you for taking care of Nick. And she's one of the two poets, there's another poet who didn't make it tonight. Both of them recently got a Connecticut State Award, Heroes Award, for their work as artists in the state. So Leslie is among those, and she's got, you can tell about your little organization. Not small.
Well, a week from today, we are going to be in the library, and we thank Cornwall Library. We're going to be outside doing an Earth Day celebration with people of all generations, making endangered species puppets, doing a parade, having a 12-person oil spill costume, kind of an extravaganza, and then an eco film that we created premiere at the library a week from today.
Wow.
So anyway, we're called Grumbling Griffins. We try not to grumble, and we're in our 44th year. This was a little haiku to start. My heart is a bird. It nests so tenderly within my unborn now. See, it flies to you. So this is another poem I wrote called Lungs of Spirit. Let's break through the ice of self-judgment, the creeping vines of worry, the fear of not doing right, of not pleasing, of imperfection, of shadowy doubt, and enter a realm of unrealized splendor, of godly possibility, the infinite, the one who is all, who is you and me and she and three, and everlasting we, yes. It is all of us together and forever, before, after, and most importantly now. For inside of now is breath, is in and out, our bodies, our souls like ocean tides, the seas, the ceaseless motion of waves returning to shore, forever moving, holding life within its mighty sea arms, as we humans stand on shifting sands while we look out the vast horizon. Dreaming of journeys with sails and songs, we travel our dreams and live our schemes, and in between remember God. God is in our every breath and thought and lungs and heart and sigh, in a mother's goodnight kiss and stories to her young ones, in a son's growing up, in a blind old woman who was young at heart, listening to the peculiar song of a bird on a trail, on a mountain, where the old woman walks with her daughter holding hands. God is in the wilderness, in the scent and delicacy of a rose, in the thirst of a young buck, a coyote's howl, a turtle dipping in for a moonlight swim while the loon laughs. God presents herself to him. God presents himself to her in the royalty of faith and trust. This trust is enmeshed in the bones of the humans. We humble mortals need to know someone is there, for without that security, fear can grow, and we are like parentless orphans spinning out in time and space. If we let go, will we fly away? Perhaps. But God will not let us, for God is gravity, science, and love. Is she fiction? Is she true? She is, just is. A breath, a heartbeat, a child coming home from school calling, Mom? Give thanks for every bud and every leaf, tree, organism, and animal that speaks of untold mysteries. God, I believe you are in us and we are in you. Together we have a plan. It is to remember, to sing, to appreciate your generous gifts of the symphony of life, the pulse of eternity. Together we join and honor each other, and in that we find you, in sickness and health, in death and in birth, aho, tikkun olam, healing of the world. Our gift and responsibility, whoever you are, whatever you are, wherever you are, we whisper thanks.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Amazing. We're all here together live, local and real. In the future, I'm really hoping that together are voices happening in real time on a physical level and a virtual level, rather than one or the other, is something that will come together, and voices and sounds from places that are being silenced in real time around the world will begin to understand the value of an open microphone portal system, and hopefully that if this works out, it'll grow there. Next up is going to be one of my favorite poets in the world. I just love this man's work so much. Paul Skiff from New York City, and then after Paul, we're going to go over to so we have some voices from east of us here. We're going to go to Milan, Italy, and then we're going to go over Austria after that. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone. How about a hand for Paul Skiff?
Oh, it's a delight to be here with everybody. I want to thank Margaret and the library for the vision to put this together, the board of the library for dedicating your limited resources to do this event, to bring so many people together from everywhere. Thanks to CC for all the work you did for this, and all the poets who are here. Especially you guys there at the library who are kind of the foundation of the poetic community this afternoon. So I cast for the laughter of your spirits during these times that are so bitter for so many people. I just have one poem. I'll try to do this, keep it short. Here, over here, where life is more abundant, there is no act of the palm, no distorted smile, no forced loyalty. Here, danger is not shared with inner impulse. There is no flood, famine, raging epidemic, or hopeless war. For we possess enough love to exclude them, and we are only suspended in human condition because after it was said, this is life, we did not wait for all the limitations. You may admire a word, but it is not a piece of property. I possess the knowing of my favorite word, but the word does not belong to me. The only way to possess a word is for the moment you admit you do not have it. At least you pass forward and are truth of the words freedom. I am entered into by words I speak, but I only hold the moment of their enjoyment with my voice. Safe keeping of the word, continuously interrupted words where my mouth has their shadow. Quest beneath my tongue for how to be said, searching for their self-same sound as though my mouth is sonic mirror echo spark, traveling the frontier of their becoming inside my mouth like refugees on an illicit crossing to freedom. My favorite word is all of them that create a person whole and complete. Any word that even in wilderness of delirious rapture nonsense creates an emancipation. All words that ignite the shape and vital beginning of full-bodied participation in being alive. If our life was a word, I would favor it with being said. Shape my mouth around life, fill with resonance of a force greater than any human understanding. To be made animate here, so my resolve and volatile tenacity will now be as I feel and perceive into this life. I would stand inside the word life and let it compose me. How is it that looking for a way to be spoken, all words freely give themselves to page, screen, or sky? Never resist becoming alive. Leave silence with the vibration of birth joy, like it was their mother. What is the secret of these words giving? The selflessness of their valor, the generosity only spirit has the capacity to accept. I speak you. A word, so we feel ourselves, so we feel ourselves, so we feel a word, ourselves. The place we know as our being. I speak you and myself like a word impassioned with need to be shaped, so we feel ourselves, so we feel ourselves, the word ourselves, in the here of hearing, the place we know as our being. A beginning as a word that opens our togetherness. Our togetherness, the beginning as a word that opens our togetherness. I will be the favor of this word here. Over here where life is more abundant, I will be the favor of this word. I will be the favor of this word. This word, togetherness.
There's a gift in that particular part. There's something happening here in the room, because I've been to a lot of Zooms, but there's an experience of life, like it's real. When I'm not just in a chair alone in my room. There's a new magic in the air over here. So thank you, Paul. And there are people that have never heard any of you or experienced some of your style ever before. And that's happening in a group setting, and you know that vibration is real. So I really want to just add that little thing that I'm happy this is feeling right. Just feeling right. So now we're going to go over to, and I had her send me the name of pronunciation of her name on a recording, but I've been so busy I haven't been listening to it. But it's Antje, and the last name is Sten. She's from Germany, she lives in Milan, Italy, or she's there now, and that's who's next. So go ahead and introduce yourself, pronounce your name, and then after that, we're gonna have Laura Gravel. Thank you for your patience, everyone. We have more poetry to come and a lot of patience to be grateful for. We're already at quarter after, so thank you and love you. Let's hear from Milan, Italy next. Bring us your love.
Oh, I think she left already.
Is she here?
She had to leave. Cece.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay, all right, we'll go right to Laura. All right, okay. Thank you, sorry. Yeah, if anyone else is in that big of a hurry where they're gonna actually leave and they can't just hang out, tell Ben, make sure you message the house. Okay, Laura, are you ready? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cece. It's great to be here tonight, a real honor. And I'm coming to you from Austria, where it was snowing today on the flowering fruit trees. Climate change is interesting. So I'm going to just read one today to give perhaps someone else time to read. And I will come down here. This is a piece. I am, as you may hear from my voice, originally an American. I've been in Europe since the year 2000. And there's a federal holiday that began in the US in 2021. Biden made Juneteenth, which commemorates the slaves being freed, into a federal holiday. It was a state holiday before that in Texas, where I'm originally from. And this piece is called, the year it officially became a holiday in Texas, 1980. 1980, Juneteenth Rising. I'm walking down this hot street. I'm holding a baby walking down this hot street. I don't know why I'm doing this yet. I'm thinking I'm just doing my job. I'm a park leader, a skinny white girl on the second ever Juneteenth parade in Austin, Texas, celebrating the day the slaves heard they were free. I mean, I know why we're doing it. I work at a park, 2 parks. One, all the kids are Black, one is mixed race. But it hasn't really dawned that the heat of this march is not just the sweat of my arms, the sweat of this child who is Black, not just our sweat sliding over each other, intermingling and dropping, sizzling on the brutal street as the drums come solemn behind us. It hasn't even dawned that the need of this child is not just that this child's mother is at work, not just that this child is a defenseless infant. As the drums come solemn, as the drums come solemn, come solemn. We're marching down this hot street, a gaggle of kids between 3 park leaders all squinting into the sun. Almost nobody watching from the sidelines, 'cause this ain't Congress Avenue. This street is a backside to ugliness, between the Villa Capri Motel parking lot and the Lyndon Baines Johnson Presidential Library parking lot. A street radiating heat, cooking us like stew. But we march on, this baby and I. And we made it, sister. You never complained. At 9 months, you knew. It's taken me 59 years. Today, I'm marching down this hot street. I'm marching down this hot street with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for being here. We still have, believe it or not, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more poets and wherever, if it's 20. So it's gonna be Angela, Kevin is in the room, and then Sandy from Cork, Ireland, and then CP Mays, and then if she's off from work and she arrives, it's to close out the night, it can be Mariana also. And that's the lineup we have left, and let's see what we can do to make the house happy. And I love you all. I wish I could give you all a half an hour apiece, but that's just not the reality here. So Angela, Eureka Smith, a great woman. She supports a lot of women writers, women horror writers. She's from America. She's been living way down south in Brazil. And so, she'll tell you where she's from. Southern Brazil. Anyway, she's moved 3 times and she's happy now. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Cece, for putting this together. Thank you, everybody, for putting this together. I'll try to be fast because I know we are lots of time. And I live in Rio do Sul in Brazil, and I'm actually immigrating here. So it's kind of like the whole American experience going backwards. And my grandmother immigrated to America. So sometimes I wonder if she's mad at me or if she approves. We'll find out. The poem I'm going to read first is called Critical Birdsong, or The Rising Cost of Beachfront. The birds played a dirge upon the wires, a last mournful tune for the forest, for the meadows, for the world. No one listened to their lament for melting ice and dusty lake beds. No one looked up to see the silent bird song punctuating a plea across our landlines. No one cared. We, the people, the perpetrators, went on our way, full of bustle and hustle, far too important to heed a bunch of birds making random patterns. What do birds know? Until the birds went silent. Then we looked up to find the trees emptied of birdsong, leaves, and the annoying cicadas that horrified us. The barren landscape was finally devoid of spiders, dandelions, and other pests. Flies and mosquitoes, both history. We rejoiced at our newly created beachfront properties and moderately mourned those now under the sea. With the rising temperatures, every state could be Florida. We celebrated, but what did we know? Critical bird song, but our complaints were so loud, we missed the message. And that was a high bun. And then I had a fun one, which I'm going to kind of skip over in the interest of time, and I'll just read the first high bun I wrote when I came here. And it's called The Grass Isn't Greener, The Grass Isn't Really Greener, and Other Misconceptions. The house builders next door laugh in Portuguese, a lyrical joy that emanates from their leathery souls to burst forth from sweaty brows, toil and trouble sparkling in the fire-roasted afternoon. They balance on the sharp brickwork, antique flip-flops somehow impervious to drop nails and jutting wire. Weathered, lanky panthers. The old men haul buckets of sand across warped boards, oblivious to the fresh concrete mortality that waits should they slip, not minding the clouds of mortar dust that envelop their heads, not worried about the carcinogens, the calories, the next moment. Practical enlightenment attained between paychecks, the burdens of the day set down with sunset, operating in the moment. I listened to their laughter from the shadow of the chascaheira, my feet privileged to walk on cool tile, my burden, freshly washed laundry. I balanced the plastic bin on my hip, a fat house cat patted from mini treats. This moment, my head is full of tasks that stretch ahead for years, a predestined path punctuated in deadlines, hemmed in with my own self-importance and stark, scheduled milestones. From this shaded castle, I worry about carcinogens, calories, and the next moment, and the tasks that line up like dominoes, interdependent. One tremor, and my plans risk collapse in an orderly fashion. Chaos and neat rows of failure. I envy the joy, so I try to laugh in English, a musicless noise, stained dark from sarcasm and wit, impractical enlightenment attained between accolades, the burdens of my day preset with coded notifications operating in eternal projections. But who is to say one life is better or not? We envy the same. And that was my observances of the amazing men building a house next door to us that are so tough and impervious to all things, fire, acid, nothing can harm them. And then me kind of being envious of them because their life is so simple, but would probably be envious of me. So who's to say what's right? So, and that was it. Thank you.
Something about, she's a horror writer, but she's one of the happiest people I know. There's gotta be something in there. Thank you very much. It's for all you do for the women horror writers around the world. Thank you very much. So, okay, next is gonna be Kevin. Kevin's right here in the room. I met Kevin has twice arrived at our Valentine's, which is not filmed or not video, but on Valentine's night. And right here in our little town, we have a poetry reading. And
He wants me to introduce him.
oh, okay.
This is the poet,
That's lady for me.
this is the poet laureate of the Smithfield Valley. Hello. This is the poet laureate of the Smithfield Valley in Menia, New York. He's the author of The Enclosed Garden, 1991, and Longing in 1997, which was translated and published in French and Japanese. He is the music and theater critic at the millbrookindependent.com. This is Kevin McEnany.
Next week. I gave 3 short poems. Listen to the robin. When a robin sings in spring, setting up a nest, begins to sing at orange rays of dawn about musical genealogy. He may well attract another robin to continue the song he is singing, which goes back before humankind arrived, to be part of his small, appreciative audience. So too, should human beings imitate wise robins at concert halls, churches, and other musical venues with a spirit of generosity in celebration of life and nature, as it appears to us every morning when we open our eyelids to blue dawn. It's called Stardust. A semblance of eternity is found in pricking raindrops falling on your head, number of grass blades that you have stepped on, number of seeds you have eaten in fruits, number of magical musical notes you've heard, number of thoughts that have bounced in your brain, journey of a roaring stream to river, number of times each day your eyelids blink, number of dithering snowflakes in air, number of pebbles you have held in hand, number of odd dreams that have confused you, the dense starlit sky on a clear, cold night. There is a semblance of eternity at the heart of your life, which is your gift. This is a poem about physics. What is a poem? Let us observe the weight of a hammer. If you put the quarks and electrons on a scale, the combined weight of all of them would be as light as a piece of paper. So if you hit your thumb with a hammer, why do you wince with a degree of pain? The mass of the hammer is in its bonds. Those small electrons are in a tight line, all 26 lined up like an arrow, which is what determines the hammer's mass. Bonding creates mass, weight, and perception, just as the bonding of sperm and ovum creates the life of a newborn baby. Life is poetry encased in bonding.
So I'm gonna ask her to announce everyone next time, because it's quite a job of gathering all the bios and then doing them, gathering them, so she said yes. Your name?
Denise.
Denise what?
Denise Jordan Finley, the songwriter.
Denise Jordan Finley, she's the songwriter. Okay, moving right along, Sandy, who gets mega love, not mega, can't use that word anymore, damn it. who gets a lot of love from a lot of women. She's an amazing promoter of women poets. And she has cultivating voices, and can't say too much about because she's already smiling and beaming, and I want to hurt her first before she reads her poem. Thank you, Sandy. And then coming up after Sandy, CP Mays, and I saw Marty show up, so we are going to hear from Mariana also. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cece. And the night has now fallen here in Cork, Ireland. I'm actually from Old Saybrook, Connecticut, but I'm over here in Ireland to on a book tour for my second collection called The Glass Studio. And today I have a lot of appreciation for Laura's poem in particular, because today I was at a march here in Cork where there were hundreds and hundreds of people marching for Palestinian solidarity. I'm not into sides. I'm just really into humanity and like being on the side of humanity. So apologies for my voice, everybody. Those of you who know me, you can hear that my voice is a little gone. But in the spirit of what I was marching for and about and with today, I'm going to read a sestina from the book called Let No One Stand Alone. It's about the death of a college student. Her name was Rachel Corrie, who died in 2003 in Rafah while she was trying to protect the demolition of a Palestinian's home. And the poem also takes us to Belfast. And so I thought, in the spirit of my travels and my spiritual travels and my physical travels, I'd read this one poem. And it's a sestina. So I hope I can sustain the sestina. There is quite a bit of reference to violence, obviously, so I just want to let you know. Let no one stand alone, for Rachel Corrie, 1979 to 2003. The day I reconnected with evil again, driving south on I-5 to escape my own mini-series of headlines in Bellingham. The news from Rafah broke horrific, like all history emerging, that she had died clutching fistfuls of dirt that day when she stood her ground alone. Bulldozer and American college girl, a standoff, March 16th, 2003, and NPR reporting that evil had prevailed in not so many spoken words. Outside of Everett, I clutched the steering wheel, and the story's every word harder than a car owner should, my knuckles turning whiter than history recorded, each mile driven, bringing news of worse news as Western Washington blurred by. A Caterpillar D9R, now news, conflicting reports as the bulldozer operator keeps standing by his story that he never saw her. Like all of history buried, a corpse shouldering its dirty shot glasses of evil. Like everything that history swallows and disowns to keep its truth underground, soiled. All these clutch plays for convenient blindness, the way a small girl might clutch a stolen chocolate bar in her not so naive fist. The news that Sunday afternoon, so disorienting that I couldn't own it over all these years. And for days after, everyone I knew stood shell-shocked on the campus bricks, mourning that something so evil could befall an Olympia family community in spring. We became history unforgettable, tethered in those distorted budding days. And history would repeat weeks later when a friend, originally from Belfast, clutched his chair's armrests like the sides of a lifeboat to survive evil's swells, just hours after speaking at her memorial, trying to keep the 1980s news from Belfast at bay so as not to confuse everything he stood for from everything crumbling beneath Rachel's own sure feet. But he couldn't distinguish his own grief over losing Bobby Sands' sister, whom he loved, from this new history still fresh in his mind like butchered meat. He couldn't stand anything now resembling the girlish present. And clutching his mug handle, I witnessed a man unraveled by more than news while we drank strong Irish tea, his heart having been evil's good next door neighbor for far too long. He stood up alone, clutching his own singular history, weeping, wishing like me that Rachel had made her story farther away from the news and from that man-made blade of evil. I wish you all peace around the globe tonight, this afternoon, and I look forward to seeing you in Connecticut in about a month. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Cece. And thank you, Cornwall Library.
Say your last name for us correctly. Say your last name for us.
Hey, it's Yanone.
You know.
Like, you know?
You know.
And,
You know.
yeah, you know. And I will put
Thanks.
in the chat, you're all very welcome to join us on Cultivating Voices Live Poetry. I'll put
Every Sunday, and she's got a great list, and she'll notify you if you get in touch with her. Cultivating Voices, thank you. And there's not too much to say about this next poet, except C.P. Mays. I'm just gonna leave it at that. This man is beautiful. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You've been ready. You were born ready.
Yeah, I'm CP Maze, CP MAZE. Love language. We can make the world a better place. You gotta believe that shit. Here's a poem. If we surrender to the air, we can ride it. End quote. Toni Morrison. Even as a toddler, my sippy cups were filled with wet cement. End quote. CP Mays. Cross Country Just Park, a dedication for Mousy Brown. When your dreams don't have enough money for gas and can't seem to pull out of the parking lot in your own mind, know that I'll hitchhike towards the corners of your Bukowski and submit poems to God with you. Submit poems to God so that karma can pass them back around her collection plates in heaven, in your name. So that happiness could finally afford to find her way back home to you. I've broken a lot of things in this life that I can't seem to fix, like peaceful sleep, like this lost in the deep end dive of a smile, like we both know God's best friend is Jack Daniels, like the holy water Christ turned into wine was as blue as your eyes, like we're not a bunch of bundled up temper tantrums, my dear. We're temperamental Old Testament scriptures with tears as strong as moonshine liquor. Your type of country girl jives well with my Southern belle. The both of you, a bunch of where the wild things are. The type of beautiful that was never meant to bite the dust. You both are wild cards dancing in the moonlight. Y'all's type of relationship is hand over halos over hangover and bulletproof. Be a daredevil that doesn't acknowledge that there's a high wire or a safety net. A rowdy renegade in the sundress you are. Defy the odds like us outlaws were born to do, storm chaser. Be a foolish, half-baked, silly crack of a lightning smile, striking several times in the same place just to prove to the pavement that you abide by your own set of goddamn rules. The three of us are that special type of earthquake shy. The three of us are that type of right hook, uppercut, sucker punch that fist fights with demons in heaven were bred from. Angels falling from shooting stars aren't as fresh as we are. They say you can't make a cake without cracking a few eggs. Just like you can't embrace the angel on earth you were born to be, Mousy, without writing a few Dear John letters to the devil first. Bukowski says, what matters most is how well you walk through the fire. And my dearest damsel, dipped in gasoline, remember that as long as we hold on to our sparks, imaginations on fire will be ours to wield on our own terms for our own yields. So spontaneously combust whenever and wheresoever forever says that you can, even when feeling broken for a while feels like a really long fucking while. Walk light, but carry a big stick. Because growth will always need you to fast, curveball pitch, knock low self-esteem's depression right out of the ballpark. So even if you strike out a few times, run the bases anyway. Cause that's what us winners do. Don't be another attractive actress in Shakespeare's The Whole World is a stage, because Gaia expects more from you than that. Never back down from a slugfest, Firefly, even when the mason jars in your minefields are waving white flags in the wind. Be a fresh breath breeze that can't be bottled up or caged in or boxed in or fucking man controlled. For you can't rent or lease the levees in your eyelids when they're letting loose tears of joy. So don't run from it. Embrace the face-to-face of it and tell your deep downs that deep being flawed is what makes your face-to-face timelessly beautiful. From the bottom of my concrete heart, sincerely yours, C.P. Mays. Thanks.
Every syllable of every word he says is he pours his complete being into. And then he takes the next second of his life and tries to do it again. Thank you for being you. And now, last but not least, Marty is a friend. She's from Pennsylvania. She just got out of work and she made it in time because we're going over because of the sacredness of Margaret's heart. Thank you, Margaret. I can't say thank you enough. I got to smile at her. We're good. Mariana Alsop. I remember the first time I heard her, I'm just going to say one little thing, is while she gets her mic on ready to go, is I just wrote this today. And then she did science, philosophy, wisdom, feminism. I just nailed it across the board. And it's like, yeah, just the ink's still wet. So anyway, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so I'm in the Poconos, but I'm originally born and bred from Brooklyn, New York. So this is the piece that I will read to you. It's called Manifesto. I was birthed in an altered dimension, constructed by the hands of deferred dreamers, souls bludgeoned by burdens until they turned into concrete slabs and bricks, which were used to construct which were used to construct cities of catacombs with exits that only put you right back at the beginning of a path of footprints that led to self-destruction. Can you imagine being buried alive for over 30 years? I was forced to draw the frames of 1,000,000 windows on miles of stone walls using blood from the wounds of my wounds that had been standing one on top of another fighting to get some fresh air. The toxic environment caused parts of my soul to slough off and evaporate into the stale atmosphere, which mocked me with precipitation that consisted of my innocence, dispersed into raindrops which would form 12-foot deep lakes that would taunt me with reflections of what was taken, what was lost, and I had no choice but to swim across and continue on my path to the surface. It took me years to slither above the layer of sediment made from decaying past forms of me that I shed in order to lighten the load. While I struggled to ascend mountains of spines, the remnants of skeletons in the closet, navigating across fractures caused by the weight of the world on weak shoulders, demineralized by society's leaching tendencies, which erode souls and strip the nutrients needed to produce creativity, which in turn depletes the energy necessary for survival. Now, I sit here free, dictating this manifesto, unafraid to call out the wolves in human skins. The life force behind the revolution is us. We emerge from the swamps, we emerge from the sewers, we emerge from the slums of nightmares, holding hands, tattooing your minds with diamonds from the abyss every chance we can get. Because this is the movement of the rebels. This is the movement of the rebels. This is the Poet's Manifesto. Thank you.
Diamonds from the Abyss. That's her name on IG, Diamonds from the Abyss. That's a signature piece. I didn't know that one. There it is. Thank you. So, love, more love, and then add some on top of that. Thank you very, very much. Let's have a big hand. And for Ben for doing the engineering of tonight. He's in the other room. So big hand for Ben. Thanks for Ben. Love you all. Good night. See you on the 4th time around. Send your people from around the world who don't have a voice.